Simon recently found a new job in California. So he moves his wife Robyn from Chicago and settles down. The two also bought a big house. While purchasing furniture, a man named Gordo comes over to strike up a conversation, claiming to be Simon's high school classmate. But Simon secretly tells his wife that he has no impression of Gordo at all. After Simon goes to work the next day, Robyn is the only one left at home. In order to have a child as soon as possible, she has been busy working out recently, so she works remotely from home. Just as Robyn finishes her run and takes a shower, the doorbell suddenly rings. When she opens the door, she finds a bottle of red wine and a card signed by Gordo in front of the door. Robyn thinks that Gordo is really a warm-hearted old classmate. It turns out that when Simon bought furniture and left the delivery address, Gordo overheard it. That's how he sent the red wine. On the third day, Robyn is still at home alone. Gordo comes again and brings a list of gardeners and maids around asking if they need it. Seeing how enthusiastic Gordo is, Robyn invites him into the house to drink tea and chat. But until it is almost dinner time, Gordo still has no intention of leaving. Robyn has no choice but to call her husband Simon to go home early and asks Gordo to stay for dinner. At the dinner table, Gordo and Simon chats about their high school past. But Simon obviously doesn't want to talk about this. After the meal, Simon reminds Robyn that Gordo looks a little weird, and it's best to stay away from him. But Robyn doesn't think so. On the fourth night, Simon takes Robyn to the company dinner. When coming back, they find another gift at the door, again from Gordo. The card says thank you for the dinner. Gordo also put a few goldfish in Simon's empty pool. The gift list also includes fish feed. Robyn feels more and more that Gordo is a caring old classmate. But Simon always thinks that Gordo must have some ulterior motive for doing this. After that, every now and then, when Simon is not at home, Gordo would come over and chat with Robyn, helping her fix a TV, doing some physical work. That night, Gordo invites Simon and his wife to his home as guests. Upon arrival, Simon finds that Gordo's house is luxurious, so asking him what he does for a living. Gordo keeps changing the subject and is unwilling to answer the question directly. Just then a call rings. Gordo claims that it's from the company, so he goes out to answer the call. While Gordo is away, Simon claims that Gordo is a weirdo who would come to others' house, especially for the beauty of Robyn. At this time, Gordo comes back after answering the phone, and the tension between him and Simon becomes stronger and stronger. Gordo claims the call is from his ex-wife, but he just said clearly that it's from his work, so Simon is very disgusted by the inconsistent of what he said. Not only that, Gordo always stares at Robyn lustfully while talking. Simon finally couldn't bear it anymore. He asks Robyn to wait for him in the car first, and then warns Gordo stay away from his home. Unexpectedly, the next day, Simon finds that the goldfish in the pool at home are dead, and the dog is also missing. He thinks it must have been Gordo, so he goes to Gordo's house to confront him face to face. But what appears at Gordo's house is a couple. The couple tells Simon that Gordo is just their driver. Facing with this mysterious Gordo, Simon chooses to call the police. But he has no evidence to prove that Gordo did all these things. That's how things ends. Fortunately, Simon's dog comes back the next day, and Gordo doesn't show up after that, so life is back normal again. A few days later, Robyn receives another card from Gordo. It says, "I'm sorry, my behavior scared you. In fact, I am a good person, and I have forgiven you, and I will not bother you again in the future." Since receiving this card, Gordo seems to have really disappeared. But Robyn becomes suspicious. When taking a shower, she always feels like there is someone outside the bathroom, and always feels like someone is following her when she's running. One day, she suddenly faints while doing housework and finds herself lying on the bed. When she wakes up, what makes Robyn even more upset is that sentence on Gordo's card, "I have forgiven you." What does that mean? Is there any grudge between Simon and Gordo? For this reason, Robyn questions her husband many times, but Simon always denies that there is any dispute between him and Gordo. After some time, Robyn becomes pregnant. When she is shopping for maternity clothes that day, she discovers that Gordo is following her. Robyn completely collapses now. She goes home and pries open his husband's drawers, finding Simon has actually investigated Gordo behind her back. Later, Robyn finds another high school classmate of Simon, Greg, to learn about the situation. According to Greg, Simon was an arrogant bully who often picked up good kids in high school. The most serious one was when Simon spread rumors that Gordo was being harassed by a man. It was his bravery that saved Gordo from being violated. From then on, Simon became a hero in the school, while Gordo became an outlier, often ridiculed by his classmates. Gordo's grumpy father also believed that his son had brought shame on him and often beat him severely for no reason. Once he almost burned Gordo to death. All these things left a serious psychological shadow on Gordo. When he grew up, Gordo accomplished almost nothing and had neither a career nor a family. After learning about these situations, Robyn hopes that he could sincerely apologize to Gordo. Unexpectedly, Simon not only does not apologize, but also beats Gordo as arrogantly as he did in high school, warning him again to stay away from his home. Maybe in Simon's mind, Gordo will always be a doormat, and there is no need to apologize to him. After beating Gordo, Simon lies to Robyn that he has apologized and obtained Gordo's forgiveness. Their life has returned to peace again. Simon has been promoted in the company, and his career is becoming more prosperous. To celebrate Simon's promotion, they also invites colleagues to a party. Just when everyone is chatting happily, someone suddenly smashes the glass of Simon's house with a stone. Everyone takes action immediately and finally catches the assailant. It turns out that it's another Simon's colleague who was fired by the company a few days ago. In order to get promoted, Simon repeated his old tricks again and fabricated lies about this colleague who opposed him, which directly led to this colleague being fired. That's why this guy comes to smash the glass to vent his anger. Robyn is disappointed with Simon and even has her premature birth because of it. Fortunately, there is no danger in the end and their baby is born successfully. The breach between the couple is temporarily bridged by the birth of the baby. When Simon is immersed in the joy, the company suddenly calls and fires him directly. It turns out that the slander of his colleague was found out. Again, Robyn gets disgusted with Simon and expresses she would live with her mother in the future. Simon, who is frustrated in his career and marriage, receives the last 3 gifts from Gordo. The first gift is the key to Simon's house, indicating that Gordo can enter Simon's house at any time. The second gift is a CD containing the audio of Simon mocking Gordo in front of Robyn, showing that Simon has never had any remorse feeling for his horrible behavior. The third gift is also a CD. For Simon, this is the most deadly gift, because it contains videos of Robyn when she was unconscious. In the video, Gordo, wearing a mask, puts Robyn on the bed and seems to want to do something evil to her. The video ends abruptly here, leaving Simon with unlimited imagination. Gordo knows Simon very well. For an arrogant person like Simon, suspicion is the best torture for him. Now, Simon has begun to doubt whether the child Robyn gave birth to is his own. Even the child is his own. Was Robyn violated by Gordo? If Simon's wife was violated by what he considers a doormat, which is completely unacceptable to Simon. In the end, Gordo completes his revenge on Simon in his own unique way. He also plants the seeds of suspicion in Simon's mind. Perhaps the most perfect revenge is not to kill, but let the person live in doubt and suspicion for the rest of their lives. This movie is under the guise of a suspense film, but tells a story of revenge and punishment. From beginning to end, not a drop of blood was shed, but there is always a touch of uneasiness and fear throughout the movie. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.